On this record, it was the first time in my life, Scott, that I was like, I don't give a fuck what anybody thinks about this. I don't care what anybody else is doing. Yeah, your shit's cool, but like my shit's better and I don't give a fuck. You know what I mean? Like I had to believe in myself, you know? It really was the first time ever. And I'm not ever going to go back to not doing that.
Rob Ruckus,
Nick Collins,
Kate Clover,
Keith Semple,
Isaiah Mitchell,
Billy Harvey,
Tim Howard. Check it out. Almost Famous Magazine.
Hey everyone, welcome back to The Hang right here on Almost Famous Magazine. I'm your host, Scott Saldinger. Thank you from the bottom of our hearts for hanging with us, getting to know musicians, learning the stories well beyond just the music that they create. If you're new to the channel, thanks so much for hanging with us. Please subscribe, share, you know what to do. And if you've been here before and you haven't shared us with someone else and you like what we're doing, you came back, what are you waiting for? Plus, if you'd prefer to take us on the go, you can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and more. I'm so excited about today's episode, everybody. I'm just going to tell you that straight up. And as part of our Dollfest 2026 coverage today on The Hang, we're joined by Stacey Dee. She's the unmistakable voice and driving force behind Bad Cop, Bad Cop, one of my favorite bands. I'm going to fan out, I guess. A band that's helped redefine modern punk with urgency, melody, and unapologetic heart. Beyond the stage, Stacey's a songwriter, visual artist. She's an outspoken advocate whose creativity stretches far past 3 chords and a mic. I had a chance to see them at Punk Rock Bowling a couple of years ago, and I fell in love, and I'm so excited to have Stacey join me. Stacey, thanks for making it today.
Dude, that was such a nice introduction. I'm honored to be here. Thanks for wanting to talk to me.
You know what? If we could just go on forever, I could have written an hour-long introduction. There's so much to say. I am enamored by the work that you all do. The members of your band are some of the most incredible people, and we're going to get into them today. I follow your social media. I was so stoked when I got to give you guys that photo to sign for Punk Rock Gives Back, and raise some funds there. So it's been a journey, but we finally got here. So let's go down the rabbit hole today and see where we come out on the other end.
Great.
I always like to start kind of going back to the very beginning. I'm always fascinated with how your relationship with music starts, right? Did you find music or did music find you? Tell me that story and then how it got you to the point of boom, Bad Cop, Bad Cop.
That's so exciting. Yeah. I come from a father who is a singer-songwriter. He had bands he was at 14. He left home at 14 and learned to play guitar and was teaching guitar in like different high schools, like independent study high schools and shit. And he was, my dad is a ripping guitar player and he writes songs and he sings. And so I grew up, when I was born in San Francisco, California in 1975, I moved straight into the band house.
Wow, there wasn't an audition.
There was no, it was just straight into the life, man, you know? My dad had a band in the city. He was playing reggae in 72 in the city doing like Jimmy Cliff covers and shit. Like when my mom was 9 months pregnant with me, they went, I don't know, I'm going to bring them up maybe because I'm wearing some reggae stuff, but my mom was pregnant with me in 75. They saw 9 months pregnant. They saw, they took me in the belly to see Bob Marley. So I got to at least listen to Bob Marley in concert in San Francisco. Nice. She said I was in the belly just dancing the whole time.
You were like, get me out of here. I want to hit the dance floor.
I want to get out. Yeah. And my mom always said, you know, when we tried to put you to sleep, you know, because I also grew up in the party environment. So when they tried to put me to sleep, I would cry and cry and cry until they just put me into the middle of the room and I could sleep through all the music going on, all the partying going on, all the people. And I've just always been very social in that kind of aspect. Always really liked a lot of people around me. But like then a little bit older, you know, my family is fun and wild, but you know, my dad was home a lot because he was a guitar player and a musician. And so I always wanted to be a singer, you know, I just wanted to be a famous singer, like so bad. And, we had reel to reel in our house and we were not at all affluent. We were pretty poor, you know, but you know, we had this kind of stuff around. I always had guitars around. I had amps around. I had reel to reels around. I had music books around. So we would do stuff where he'd play guitar and I would sing, even as like a 3-4-year-old, and we would record it. It was just really cool thing for he and I to get to do. And yeah, so that's how it kind of really started for me. And then also my mother, who isn't a musician, but a huge music fan, when I was 5 years old, started working for Bill Graham. Do you know who Bill Graham is?
Mm-hmm.
The concert promoter in San Francisco that was responsible
Yes.
for like the Grateful Dead and some of the biggest acts to ever come through California, quite honestly. And he had a merch company called Winterland Productions, and my mom was just a staff accountant for this big merch company. So as we were super poor, I still grew up in like rock t-shirts and like I told this on Toby's podcast, I had a satin rat jacket in the 3rd grade. You know what I mean? So nice. The boys in my neighborhood were like, how do you have all of this stuff? And like Twisted Sister and Madonna and I mean Wham, when Wham was huge. We had all of it. And it was like, but it would be funny because we'd have like the stuff that was misprints would be free. So I'd show up with like a something that's supposed to say Wham, but it just says ham. Yeah, so
That's
I've just
awesome.
been immersed in rock and roll my entire life. My family was hugely into MTV. It was always on in my house. And now, and my father, God bless his soul, tried to get me to play guitar my entire life. But it wasn't, oddly enough, I had to go through this whole experience by myself until I was 20, when I finally picked up my guitar and said, Dad, I'm ready to learn. And he taught me 2 chords, E and A in the first position, the cowboy chords. And I moved away to Santa Barbara and I just started, I was like, I'm going to be a musician. I'm going to be a musician. I wore it on me before I was the thing, but I did have this history with my family being so rock and roll.
Now, I mean, you started singing, and I really hope you have those reel-to-reels digitized.
God, I hope he does. I haven't even ever asked him. But I was also a shit kid that would go record over it and be like, la, 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 la,
You never know. If you can find them, maybe we'll hear him on a future Bad Cop album.
Oh my God, I'd die if he had that.
You never know. It could make some interesting source material. A friend of mine, Billy Harvey, has his daughters singing on his new album, and they're like 8 to 11 years old. So you never know. But
you know what? I also had cassette tape, so I wonder if he kept any of that. He might have. He might have.
All right. Well, the next time we talk, that's going to come up again. I'm hoping it ends up. You get to be creative with it. So what was the resistance of picking up a guitar? Was there something in you that said, yeah, I just rather just sing, and then one day you're like, okay, I'll give it a shot? Or was there any other impetus?
No, there was so the funny thing was at 4 years old, there was a drum set up in my brother's room before he was born. It was kind of like my dad's rock room. And he would have his band come over and, jam, and I'd sit, nobody was playing drums. So I'd sit behind the drums at 4 or 5 years old. And I knew how to instinctually knew how to just do to cat with the bass foot to cat. So I already knew, I just knew how, I don't know where that came from, whether it's in my blood or past life shit. I don't know where it came from, but so that I played drums. And I played piano. There was always a piano in our house, and my dad had some stuff that he played. And so I learned how to play the stuff he played. And so I always tried, but I'd go to like rehearsals with him, and I'd go around the room and I'd sit behind the drums. I'd play the little keyboard, I'd play the piano. But I'd look at the guitar and say, I'm never going to understand you. He would give me guitars and I would be like, I was almost like, I'm allergic to that. But it turns out, it was the thing that was going to give me my entire life. It was the thing that I was going to learn to write all of my songs on. It was going to be the thing. But, and I sometimes ask myself, why was I so, not into it? But I think maybe it's because I knew it was going to be the rest of my life. And maybe I just needed to be a kid for a while and go experience my shit. And maybe that doing all of that gave me the stories to be able to write the songs that I, ended up writing. I don't know. Or I was lazy, or I was just into partying and, and having a boyfriend and not going to school and smoking weed and all that kind of stuff. So who knows?
Well, let me ask you this, because it started with Bob Marley, and then you had all that different merch, and you grew up with, you go from Rat to Madonna. You got a broad swath there. What led you to the music that you're making today? What led you to saying, I want to go down this avenue and not be, let's say, just a pop artist?
Right. So when I was about 5-6 years old, I found, a band that was my music, something that I wanted to listen to, something I wanted to see, and that was the Go-Go's. I saw the Go-Go's in 1981 at the Greek Theater in Berkeley. My parents took me because my mom would get the free tickets. So from Winterland. So I fought my way up to the front and they let me go. I wasn't I was a free child. It was a free child. So I was just like, I'm going. So I ran up to the front of the stage. I put my head on the stage and I watched Jane Weedland play guitar. And I said, that's what I'm going to do with the rest of my life. And it fucking was.
Nice.
Yeah. And then at the same time, it was, Joan Jett had I Love Rock and Roll came out. I think it was 1979, 1980. But by the time it was on regular radio and I was hearing it, it was probably 80, 81. So I was like 5-6 years old, and the Ramones around that same time, so there was that kind of, I loved that, that sound. I even, and we'll come back to this later, I think, but like even, songs like I'm walking on sunshine. Well, that high energy, feel in music and that faster high energy thing was always mine, felt like I'm having a hot flash about it.
It's interesting. It's interesting that you bring up the Go-Go's. I was talking with Alice Bagg. She's on an episode for Dollfest, and her and Belinda Carlisle were there at the beginning, and the Go-Go's were really much more of a punk band. They were really trying to find their feet in female punk before they kind of got, pushed into this more pop kind of mainstream venue.
Right. Belinda was the original drummer of the Germs.
Yeah. It's really amazing that the evolution, right, of that band and how that started, but then ended up to get them where they had that superstardom.
It's so funny because they had a producer, I don't know who it was, that did Beauty and the Beat, but they were like, all their songs were so much faster. And the producer was like, you have to slow these songs down. You have to. And by doing that, it made them pop credible, which is pretty neat.
Yeah. And look, it gave them a great career. It really did. There's no doubting that. So you decide you're gonna get in this high energy. You're gonna make this your career. Between that point and Bad Cop, what were some of the things you experimented with? How did you start to find your voice and the lyrics and the direction you wanted your music to speak it to?
The first, what I did first was I played acoustic by myself. So when I moved, and my dad taught me the 2 chords, and I moved away. I went to Santa Barbara. For some reason, I knew Santa Barbara, California was going to get me closer to what I wanted to do and be in music. I got myself into City College. Excuse me. Sorry. And I started writing my first songs, and they were singer-songwriter. It was singer-songwriter stuff, And then when I came home, I said, Dad, I think I'm a songwriter. And he was like, okay, my child who's decided to just go party, not be serious about one thing in her life, is now telling me she's a songwriter. And I go, can I play you a couple of my songs? And he was like, sure. And he wasn't even paying attention to me. He thought I was just going to be. And then I came out with my first song. It was called Alone, as a 21-year-old child oftentimes feels. So I had this song called Alone, and I played it for him, and he jumped into the entryway of the kitchen. He was like, oh my God, we have to record that. So my dad was actively back into music. He got sober. My mom and dad broke up And my dad was really focusing on his own music, which was awesome. You know, he found his way again, which was just so cool. And so he got me in to sing on some of his stuff. And then he got me to go open for him at a couple little things that he would do. I just got up and played like 5-6 songs. I did some open mics in San Francisco. All my friends were super duper supportive, but I just wanted that rock and live feel, you know, having heard the bands that I heard growing up and the bands that I loved at that point in punk rock. And I was predominantly listening to mostly punk at the time. Though I did spend a lot of time in my teens growing up. I mean, I'm the age of when hip hop hit, when, you know, these certain things were, became part of human, you know, evolution. So when I was a huge hip hop fan, and I was really into R&B, and I was really into dancing, and I was really into, all of that stuff. So I don't like EDM music very much. Like, it feels like the same song all night long. But I used to love, there'd be one.
I laugh. I took my ex-wife to a Yes concert once, and at the end she goes, but they only played one song.
Yeah.
Her thing with progressive rock was it's just one long song. So I totally understand the
same
thing with EDM.
Man. Yeah. You know, every once in a while they do one that was like a Doobie Brothers sped up to like dance music, and I'd be like, I love this one, you know, because yeah.
You knew they changed songs.
So I was I came up through the EDM shit. I came up through the hip hop shit. I was raving at a really young age. You know, 15, 16, I was going to parties in the city with my friends and staying out all night. And, you know, so it was just a whole different culture for me. But I was also listening to, you know, skate music, skateboard music. So like, you know, Minor Threat, Fugazi. And then, you know, before Green Day was a big band, they were a local punk band from the Bay Area where I came from. And so I first heard them on mixtapes that friends would share and dub off each other, and everybody would tape off each other. And so that's how I first heard like Green Day. And when I was 15, you know, so when I was real young.
Well, when, you know, now that they're going to be playing at the Super Bowl, I think they may hit it big finally. I mean, they've waited a long time. They've really tried hard. And now they may have a big enough stage to get a voice for themselves.
I'll tell you, they have inspired so many people to pick up their instruments and be in a punk band. They really have. Say what you will about them. They really have. They've really connected with humanity, with young women too. With young women, you know, for me, I was like, I'm sick of seeing this shit. Like, I loved that band when I was a kid. I want to fucking play music like that too, you know? So it was a big thing for me to be like, I felt like included in being able to pick up my guitar, and, you know, there was a place for me in it.
You know, I wanted to hit on that, and I was going to hit it up later, but we can go there now. Is, you know, it probably just the last 20, 30 years, kind of since, I mean, if you can believe that you know, that was the 90s.
I know it.
I love the fact that more and more women are fronting punk bands and really getting their voice out there, so that it's not such a homogenized white guy kind of place.
I know it. Yeah.
And they're making not only a name for themselves, but they're making a difference. I mean, that's what drew me to be interested in Dollfest. I mean, it's going to be an amazing, amazing festival where femme-fronted voices get heard. And
I love
there's
it.
such a need for it. You know, I think there really is a need to be there, especially now in the kind of the times we live in.
Oh my gosh, yeah. It is a world on fire right now, and I'm not going to say that I don't love my life because of it. And I feel like some of my activism has to be like, life is still great even though it's burning down around me. Because I do still see the beauty in it all. But it is wonderful. I mean, so many women. I mean, coming up for me in the early 2000s in San Francisco, the women in bands were awesome. I mean, there was a band called the Meat Sluts that would like hang real meat off them, you know, like real punk shit, man. You know what I mean? Like, I always grew up with women that were unapologetically fucking cool, strong, fearless, women that skated, women that, held their own in any room and were unapologetically themselves, So I had some great mentors coming up. Like even my first drummer, Joan, in my first band, the Angry Amputees, she called me because I was dating this boy who turns out cheated on me with her. And then afterwards he goes, oh yeah, my girlfriend plays guitar and wants to start a punk band. Like you should. And so she called me immediately. We started the band. Within 6 months, we were on the Vans Warped Tour, and I got to break up with the guy. You know what I mean? So that was like, she was like, fuck that.
Every word, every motion, everything creates a different and new opportunity. You just got to figure out the direction it's going to go in.
You never know. You just never know. So yeah, and because I come from, I was born in San Francisco and I did spend a lot of time being raised in the city, but like I grew up in a little town and, they joked that I was just this really nice person that didn't want to upset anybody or, be loud. And I just kind of whispered around, but they taught me how to just be like, fuck, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
they really did. And that really stems from the women that I met in Santa Barbara. They are a breed of their own.
I applaud fearlessness for just taking the chance to say what you think, be who you really want to be. And you know what? Doesn't matter the outcome, because if the people that appreciate what you're presenting will be with you and the rest of them, what are you missing out on? Not much.
Right. Not much.
So, and I just think that, we need more punk, because when you think about, it's different genres have interesting audiences, right? Country shows, everybody's wearing a hat, right? Pop shows, everyone's kind of there doing their thing. But punk is the place where we all go, where we don't fit anywhere else, but we fit in together. And
oh my God, it's the best.
It's the best puzzle, because all the pieces are different, but they connect. And I love that about punk.
I think why is because it's a culture, much like hip hop. When you have decided that this is your expression in the world through music, it becomes more than just the music you listen to. It becomes the life and the culture that you become part of. It's awesome. I love punk rock so much. I mean, we are a big family. I mean, there's always people that, ruin shit, but like at the end of the day, we've always been, just like you said, the ones that didn't fit in anywhere else and found a way to fit in with each other, straight up.
Well, so let's talk about fitting in. Let's talk about, since you're the only member of the band here, this is the time for some bragging on the others. Let's talk about the other members of the band. I watch on social media, and they're all distinctly different people, which I love. Tell me about their person, like from where you see their personalities and what they bring to the group, and what you really love about how they kind of, make their mark on the band.
Yeah. Well, I'll start. Myra and I started the band from day one. And she is, as a good drummer, will always be kind of she's kind of the backbone, if the shit hit the fan and we were all dying in the desert, she'd put us all on her back and somehow she'd fucking get us to the other side. You know what I mean? She just would. And she's strong. She's funny. She's got a great sense of humor. I think we all really love to laugh together and love to be together that way. She is so accommodating in the way that she lets people have their shine and doesn't feel like if she doesn't get it that she's hurt by it or something. Like she lets everybody be who they are and really loves that about all of us. She's just our big sister. She's the oldest. Her birthday is the day before mine, so she and I are a lot alike. And sometimes, we don't listen to each other and because we're too much alike. But at the end of the day, when shit hits the fan, we're the two people that call each other first. One time my dog went missing. I got home from the studio. We were making the ride, and I had brought Matthew with me the entire recording process. And one day I decided to leave him home. Turns out my roommate came home, went outside to have a cigarette, didn't realize Matthew came out too, slipped out, and he went back to work. And when I came home from the studio, I was like so happy to see him. I'm like, puppy, I can't wait to see you. Nowhere in the house, which
Oh, no.
I lost it. I melted so bad. So I called her first the night, and I was like, I don't know what you're doing. It's midnight. I don't know what you're doing right now, but I need you to come here and help me find my fucking dog. And so she did. Her and her husband got in the car, started heading to my house. She got online, saw that somebody on Facebook Pet Finder posted a picture of finding him, and was like, he's here. We could reach out to the, so thank God. And then we thought that this was the house. So we were banging on a door at now 2 a.m. Do you have my dog? Together, And then quite honestly, another time when I first got out of detox, I got home and I was freshly sober for the first time in my life. And, the walls were melting around me when I got home, and I was like, she was mad at me, but she was the first person I called, and I said, will you please come help me clean my house? And she came over, and she fucking did, so that's Myra.
Wow.
Myra is a real one. She is, we talk, like if our men die, she and I are probably going to move in together and live together forever. Even though we drive each other crazy, we still love each other that much,
Yeah, no, that's the trend these days, right? Girlfriends moving in for retirement into tiny.
Yeah, I think that is, and I've got a lot of good ones, so I feel like we're all going to be okay. And then
probably better off.
Right. Lynn and I were in a band, right? So one of my best friends, little Jen, she was in the Angry Amputees, all my bands with me, Compton SF, Stacey Dee and Little Jen, The City. So we had this band called The City, and Lynn started playing with us in The City a year or two before Bad Cop. Little Jen was in Bad Cop. She started Bad Cop with Myra and I and the first Jenny. And so then when Little Jen didn't want to do it anymore, she said, ask Lynn. And so we invited Lynn in, and Lynn is just a consummate performer. She is she's just a star. You know what I mean? She's a loud activist. She is a great singer. She's a great songwriter. She brings so much to the damn table. She is also very fair and equal and wants to live a good, positive life. Like myself, she and I, we, on our last record, we did everything together. We worked on that so hard together, and she's just, the way that she shows up on stage, she's such a performer. I think first and foremost, she's a performer. She's just a star, she's just brings so much to the table and whatever she does. She's great at everything she does. You know what I mean? She's funny. Fuck, is Lynn funny? Lynn is outstandingly funny. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know, and you know what? Her fans love her. I mean,
oh my God,
it was her birthday, back in December, and like 10 o'clock at night here, and I'm realizing I'm gonna go to sleep soon. I realized it's her birthday, so I put up a punk rock bowling photo of her standing on this, looking like a complete badass, right?
Yeah.
And like on Instagram these days, a photo gets you a couple likes, a few impressions. Next morning, it's up to 500. Within 30 days, it's 180,000 people, and 900 of them have liked it and shared the damn thing. And I'm like, they're passionate about her. And I think it is because of her personality, and that she's unabashed and she's willing to just leave it out there. And I think that's one of the things that people love about her. She's got no fear.
Yeah. She has no fear, and she's hilarious, and she's fun, and she's just a treat to be around. She's so easygoing. She's non-judgmental. She's just she's a very easy person to be around, and I love her. I love I love her so much, you know. I'm so glad, you know, when we were doing the last record, we were driving home and we had a rough mix of our song Disbelief. And it was so good in the rough mix that we looked at each other and we grabbed each other's hands. Like, we were like, I think that was the first time we knew we had something really great. You know, we were about to make the best thing we ever made, you know. Oh, that makes me want to cry too. But to have that kind of partner.
Yeah. Yeah, no. And now, was it Alex?
It's Alex. Alex has been in the band for the last 3 years. She is a ripper. She is the one that really knows theory. Like when we were doing stuff on the record, there was times where I was kind of held up on some stuff and feeling like, I don't know what to do here, to go here. And she'd be like, my nerdy, you know, diploma about, you know, if we do this and this, it totally works. And we could bring it back here. And it was like, great. You know, there was times like on our song, Las Ventanas, where she was playing this little jazzy bit. I go, stop. What is that? That's how the song starts, you know? And then when we came back, it was like, let's bring that back. And she like, instead of it being the exact same chords, she like inverted them. And so it was the same chords, but in a different order. And it just makes so much sense. So like, she's a great player. She really wants to do this. She really wants to make it in music. You know, she wants it so bad. And I know she's going to have a lot of opportunity in her life. She's the young one. She's going to do a lot of cool things. So I'm super excited for her. The other thing that's funny is that I call her little cousin because her mother's maiden last name is Kirk, and my grandmother's maiden last name is Kirk. And they're both from, you know, poor white shit in the Appalachians. So I feel like there's got to be some sort of like relation. And still, little Jen that started the band, her maiden last name is Kirk. We're all Kirk.
Have you done a band DNA test?
No, but I feel like we should try. We should try. Yeah,
for sure.
You know, she brings a lot of new, fresh excitement to the band as well. You know, yeah.
And if she's bringing theory, because theory ain't easy. I struggled through it. I struggled through it, and I've never had perfect pitch, and it was a rough nightmare. So I can appreciate that she brings that, and I'm sure that it adds a different texture and flavor, right?
Yeah.
When you all are writing, let's talk about Lighten Up a little bit. When you're all writing, you know, you're working together. Who's putting what ingredients in the stew?
Okay.
Right.
So usually, the songwriters, Linh and I, will have a mostly finished idea to come to the table with. I've got some lyrics. At the very least, I've got the chords and a vocal melody, right? So it could go a bunch of different ways. It could go like Myra and I on Human is Human. We had been playing that vocal melody and guitar riff and her with the drums. We wrote that together. I had a little bit of something, but with her drum playing, it kind of really helped me to where I wanted to go throughout the rest of the song. So she and I had that song for a couple years together, but without the right lyrics. And so when we were writing the record, I go, Myra, we got to record the drums and the music for the song, you know, and then I had to go back and sit down and make sense of it and write it to my standard or whatever, you know, because I had different lyrics that were just kind of like, who cares? But to write it about, seriously, you know.
Well, sometimes it starts with filler words, you know. I mean, sometimes it's totally just gibberish, right? So,
or a filler concept, and then you might pull that one little line out of that song and be like, that's actually what the song is about, you know, and then go off of that. Other times, we did this thing called my boyfriend created this game called The Game. It's called The Song Writes Itself. So you get a die and you roll for things. Like the first thing you roll for is tempo. Is it slow? Is it medium slow? Is it medium? Is it medium fast? Is it fast? And then you roll for chords. Like how many chords is going to be in it? And then what are the parts? Is it A, B, C, you know, so you roll for the different kind of parts it's going to be. And so, until you get to the actual topic. What's the topic? Is it going to be love, hate, death, that kind of stuff. So we were getting together like every week to have brunch and hang out, and we played the game. Oh, there's my puppy. There he is. Hi, pup. He's like, get me up. He's going to bark at me in a minute. Look at him. Is he going to do it on his own? He might.
Oh.
Is he? Oh, okay. Anyways, so, there was that kind of process where we did stuff together. And then there was when we were in the studio, they did it. Look at him. He's up. Good boy. 14 and a half. He's doing good. And then there was parts where we were in the studio, and so on Lighten Up, half of the record we recorded where we worked out stuff in the studio. Just the music parts, okay? Just the music parts. So we did like 4 songs and we worked stuff out in the studio. Then we were about to get into the studio again to do another 6 songs or so. And we were going to go in the next day, but we started really working together where it was like, we could really, why don't we I think we should take another month and do 2 nights a week together and really work these songs out together. And that's what we did on the next 6 songs, or at least 4 or 5 of the songs. And so that was really, really cool. We did All Together Now that way. We did Straight Outta Detox that way. So, there was some really cool songs in there that we ended up doing kind of all together, which was Las Ventanas was one of them. Yeah. So it always is different, and I usually bring the song idea, whatever has forced me to create something is what I usually bring to the table. And I'll be like, how about this? Listen to this. Or, what do you guys think about this? Or I'll start playing it at rehearsal and see if they jump in. Or, and Linh usually always does. Like, what song was it? No, it wasn't that one. It was it Note to Self? Shit. No, it was All Together Now. It was All Together Now. We had so many different versions of that. And then my boyfriend and I were digging through old demos, and we found this one where Linh and Myra were playing bass and drums to it that they hadn't played any other place, anywhere else that we had done a demo for. And I was like, stop, that's the song. That's it. So they really had a part in my understanding how this song was going to happen for me. I
love that.
Yeah, you just never know, you got to try every damn way to get it out of you.
Well, look, I love the fact that you're all working together on this stuff. Because there are artists there where you just go in and one person's doing the writing, right? And you've got a band, but everyone's got a very static kind of stay in your lane kind of thing. I like the fact that you're all working together and the collaborative nature. I think that's fabulous.
I think that's why Lighten Up came out so good, was that we worked together. We got to do things our way. We weren't separated. We weren't pulled apart and put back together in some other person's view of how it should sound. This is how we wanted it to fucking sound. This is how we wanted it to go for the first time ever.
Well, that works. That works its way into something I'm always asking people. I look at music as a meal. It's your entire catalog, right? And some days I may want a dessert. Some days I might want an entree, whatever. If there were 3 songs, and there don't have to be had been you thought it was a single or on Lighten Up, but if you look at your entire catalog, and someone who's watching this right now has never heard the band, are there 2 or 3 songs that you're gonna be like, these are your appetizer songs? Because then you're gonna go down the rabbit hole and buy the entire catalog because you're gonna fall in love with us. Do you have a couple that are just really have fit that design of, this is what I've always wanted Bad Cop to be, and this represents us?
Ugh, that's really hard. I guess Womanarchist, maybe I'm Done. If it was a song that Jenny wrote, maybe Cheers or Nightmare. People love those songs. Really, really love them. And then moving into, Simple Girl's great. Yeah, Pursuit of Liberty is great. If you want to get into some of the things that we really are talking about, yeah, yeah, we've got really great shit. It's hard to pick. It's hard to pick, you know?
Okay. Well, look, now everyone watching has about 7 or 8 different to go, and there's going to be links down below, because as we always mention toward the end, go out and support your musicians. You got to buy this stuff. Don't rent it. Art's not free. So go start buying your Bad Cop, because let me tell you, they just spent you guys were on the road for a long time last year, right? Like what?
We worked our ass off, dude. Yeah,
You did.
we went out in March for a couple weeks, and then we started in July, and we didn't stop until December. We got home on December 21st.
Yeah. And now you're heading back out, right?
Yeah, we're going next month up to Doll Fest. We've got a show in San Diego at the Soda Bar, and then Anaheim at the Parish Room, which is the House of Blues upstairs room. And then we're headed to the Bay to do Doll Fest, which we can't wait. I mean, so many of our friends' bands are playing too. You know, it's just going to be so fun to be with everybody.
I'm gonna try and get out there. I mean, I'm in Dallas, so I'm gonna try and get out there for the weekend. I'm bummed I can't make it to Mexico City, but that one is definitely on my list to come out and take photos and just kind of soak it all up. I think it's going to be amazing, and Maria's done a fantastic job. I mean,
She's
I want to give
great.
her a hug for what she's doing for women in music.
I love it. You know, we sit around so often, women, we sit around so often and say, we've got to do a festival for women. We have to do a festival for women. And, you know, and here she is doing it. So I'm so proud of her, and I'm so excited that she wanted us and sees our value. And I game recognized game, as they say.
Absolutely. I'm curious. We go through, we go through life, tons of sliding doors. People come in, people go out of our lives. Has there been somebody who came into your life, could have been long-term, short-term, and planted a seed, planted a thought, an idea, or something that had a monumental impact on you, and that you've taken it with you the rest of the journey?
Oh boy. I've been through so many things, Scott. I don't even know where to begin. I mean, I guess it would have to be my father, and just his hard work and his commitment to music his entire life. It's, you know, when you are an artist and you are a songwriter, it is almost detrimental to your health if you don't do it. Well, you're supposed to do it, you know, no matter what. So I would say my dad first, you know, because he really showed me that commitment is everything. And boy, he, you know, as a teacher and as somebody that he's still teaching guitar and everything, he's like, Stace, God, I wish I got to go do it like you get to go do it, you know? And that just breaks my heart, because I wish he got to as well, you know? I really do.
And any chance there might be an opportunity for him to get on stage with you in the Girls' Show?
I've thought about that, and we have in the past. He's played with me up in Half Moon Bay and in old bands, and we have shared stages together. I think at this point he's got some health issues, and though he's still teaching, I would love to take him out for a weekend though, and just be like, we'll share a hotel room. You just come up, play a couple songs, and rip, you know. Yeah, well, maybe
you put it out there. And trust me, now that people are watching us talk about it, people show up for that. So they'd buy a ticket, I'm sure.
That's pretty neat. I would love to. I would actually really love that. Mm-hmm.
Then I think you should make it happen. I think you should do it, right? I mean, like the greatest mark is, I'm a big believer that, you know, when something comes out of your mouth, making it happen is the true proof that you're serious, right? And you're dedicated. Because a lot of people talk shit, they say stuff, and it never happens, right? But those who say it and do it, right, they really get to live because they made it real. So I want that for you. I think it'd be fabulous.
It would be a lot of fun. It would be a lot of fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you're really right about that. I mean, the word is first, right? I mean, boy, you know how hard it is for people that want to be able to do the things that they want to be able to do, just to say it out loud. I want to be this. I want to be this person. You know, coming from Half Moon Bay and one high school and everybody knowing who they thought I was, for me to come out and be like, no, I'm this rock star now. They were like, yeah, right. You know, and I had to be okay with people talking shit or not caring, you know? So it does take so much to just get the words out of your fucking mouth if that's something that you want to begin with.
Yeah. I mean, you got look. I think when we were kids, right? It was all about show. It was about show, and when you
Right.
got a little older, it was about tell and do. And then you saw that the ones who were at the top of the echelon in the show period ended up at the bottom, and those ones who said and did end up at the top. So the whole table turns in life. So
it's so true, and I think that this is something that, and I guess I'm gonna go back to your last thing about who, set something in your mind, and my boyfriend. I don't know if you know who he is, but his name's Michael Happold, and he was part of like, producing Sublime in the early days and Slightly Stupid. And he has been part of, a great legacy in music. He's in the Long Beach Dub All Stars, and he works with so many people. And I see the people that come through our house that just look up to him and what he has to offer. And he was always like, we put out The Ride and we like turned the lights off and we were listening, and he's like, walking around the room like, no, let you guys be you, let you be you, and I think that like what he instilled in me with Lighten Up was to be original for the first time. Don't let people push you. Be you. Sound like you. That's where the fucking magic is.
Yeah.
You could sound like every band can sound like any other band, but like, where are you in this? And I think that has, again, I'm going to.
Well, you bring up a good point, because if you think about music today, and we're living in an interesting time, in my opinion, there's a little too much technology in music. It's taking away some distinctiveness. It's creating a lot of vanilla. And I think the artists, at least the ones that have piqued my interest, at least in the last, 5-10 years, are the ones who they're willing to take any chance to do something different so they stand out in a crowd. And whether it's combining genres of music or twisting it on its side, creating a new sound for something, just to be different, are the ones that are getting my attention. We've had on the podcast, and we've got an upcoming episode with a band out of Houston called Easy Band. I don't know if you've heard of them or not, but they started out as a Norteña Tejano band, and then during the pandemic, the lead singer covered an Adele song in Tejano style in English, and it all blew up. And that's their entire show now. Are taking songs. They do some Taylor Swift, they do some Beatles, they do I think they've done a Led Zeppelin song, but because they change everything and they mix it up, it has such a distinct sound. You just fall in love with it. And those are the things that grab my attention in music. I mean, that's one of the things that, your new album is fantastic, because I think you hit the nail on the head. It is truly you, right? It's not someone else. And you were able to be who you wanted to be. And that's one of the greatest things that can ever happen. Because think of all the artists out there who they're being told to be.
Yeah. No, I it is so true. Just taking a shot on yourself and trusting yourself in and of itself creates something that hasn't been done before, because everybody's different and everybody has a different perspective and a different way to approach music or approach life, So nobody, I don't know. I don't think anybody is going to be exciting if they come out sounding like, all the things that have been done before, I mean, I'll be honest. It helped us to align ourselves to a certain sound because it offered us a certain type of fan base, and it offered us a certain type of shot at getting people to listen to us, But I am just so much more stoked about, this on this record. It was the first time in my life, Scott, that I was like, I don't give a fuck what anybody thinks about this. I don't care what anybody else is doing. Yeah, your shit's cool, but like my shit's better, and I don't give a fuck. You know what I mean? Like, I had to believe in myself, Yeah. It really was the first time ever, and I'm not ever gonna go back to not doing that,
Excellent. So now the big question is, what are you working on, and when's the follow-up?
So I am starting to write. Michael is a born producer, and so he has been, kind of, get in here, babe, let's do a sound check real quick. And then, do that one you were just kind of you're playing around with and try to get me. And then he's like, oh, Stacey Dee's not ready to be singing today, and it's like, you just never know when you're going to be ready. But I have been picking my guitar up. I've been going back and listening through all of my notes since 2013, like voice notes on my phone. And like waking up with those songs in my head again, being like, some of them I totally forgot, and some of them are complete songs. And you never know when a song's time is right. I swear to God, Simple Girl, dun, 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 dun. I had that riff back when I lived in San Francisco with the Angry Amputees. Now I didn't have the vocal melody, but I had those chords. I did that then. It's just so funny that when it's time, So
No,
I'm kind of like, I'm starting to fool around. I'm starting to write. So that's how it starts.
no, I think that's great. I mean, there's a Squeeze album that's coming out soon that they
Really?
wrote Oh, you ready for this? Wait a minute.
Ah,
It's a new Squeeze album. It's an old Squeeze album. It's the first album they ever did, and the record company shelved it and made them do something else. So they went back and they've redone all the songs now with the new band.
you're going to make me
And it's
break this
coming out in
glass in my
March.
hand.
Oh yeah, I'm super stoked. I mean, I've been photographing them for years, and we had Simon
I
Hansen
fucking
on.
love Squeeze.
I mean, they're amazing, and quite frankly,
Goodbye,
they are definitely,
girl. I love that song so much.
they are a bottle of fine wine,
Yeah.
because they just keep getting better and better, and the band is so tight now. They are truly
Is Jules
incredible.
Holland still playing with them?
Oh no, Jules has been out for eons.
Been out for a long time. He did, but he was on that first record, I'm guessing.
Oh yeah. No, he was on the first few, and then they had Paul Carrick, and then they broke with Tempted. And then there was years where Chris and Glenn weren't working together at all, but they've had it back together for more than 10 years now. And this new album is going to be amazing, because I think that goes to your point, right? You could have written something 15 years ago, 20 years ago. The time wasn't right. It needs to percolate. It needs to come back and visit you, right? And then it does.
You just never know.
You never know. Absolutely. So
my boyfriend did a record with Kirkwood from the Meat Puppets, Bud Gaw from Sublime, and John Poutney from this band The Ziggins, who just recently passed away. But it was made 20 years ago, and they just put it out on Honest Dons, I think. And it is one of my favorite records from last year. I love it. And they waited 20 fucking years. Somebody didn't like something on it then and shelved it. And then here it is. It's just wonderful.
Yeah, no, I think it's
called
music
Volcanoes.
and
You guys should
art.
listen to Volcanoes. It's so good. It's on everything.
All right. Volcanoes, go out and get it. I'm going to find it. I mean, it's kind of like a book. Sometimes you read a book and you're like, is a book. And then it falls off a shelf in your library, and you pick it up and you go, I'm going to revisit it, and it means something different, right? So I think music has that quality, right? I think that's why sometimes we'll go heavy into listening to an album for a while, and we put it down, and 5 years later we're having an emotional thing, and you're like, oh my God, that resonated with me, then it comes back to you, right? So, I think that's totally cool. I want to talk to you a little bit about the Sidewalk Project, because you're pretty passionate about that. Tell me about it. How'd that happen?
Well, I am a co-founder with Soma Snake Oil and Emily Nielsen. Emily's of Punk Rock and Paintbrushes, and Soma was Fat Mike's ex-wife, and we were all really good friends for a long time. And I was their assistant for a while, and she and I are the same age. I'm like 3 months older than her. But when we were just about to be 40, we were like doing a bunch of drugs and drinking real hard. And we were like, one night, we're going to do something, and it's going to be great. It's going to be for humanity. We're going to do something together, man. And then I got sober, and I'm not sober now. I just want to say I drink wine and I smoke weed, but I don't do any of the hard stuff anymore. Maybe some mushrooms, but that's it. But so I was thinking about her one day. I was completely sober, and I know she had just gotten sober, and I was in my car driving, and I was thinking about her, and I thought, what's next for my friend Soma? And I immediately heard my intuition or the universe or whatever say charity work, and you need to help her. And so I saw her 2 weeks later at Riot Fest, and I told her what I had thought. And she said, that's crazy because I've been thinking the same thing. And in the next week, she, Emily, and myself were in a meeting talking about what we were going to do. And so the first thing we did was we got oranges and waters, and we put them in our backpack. And Emily had done some work down in Skid Row around the holidays, and where trucks drive by with presents for people and kids and stuff. And she said that really felt very good. And so we went down there, and we went to Skid Row, and we just started talking to people and seeing what some of the needs were, or just seeing what was up, down there. And we went to one of the biggest shelters, and a bunch of people were hanging out front, and, gave out waters, gave out oranges. And I really connected with this guy, David. Now he's in my song, Human is Human. It's almost verbatim how this happened. I was like, what are you doing out here? Because he was my age, and seemed like a good looking guy. And I was like, what's going on? And he started weeping. He was like, I lost my job, and I lost my apartment. And then I had to end up out on the street here. And I was sleeping out and he's in a wheelchair, and he's like, I've been sleeping out on the street, and some bacteria got into my spine, and now I can't walk. And he's like, all I want to do is be able to go home. I want to go home. And at the time, Scott, I didn't even have $10 in my bank account. I was so broke. That all it would have took was like $150 to get this guy a bus ticket to go home. And I had to leave him there. And that felt terrible, So we went back, and then we started doing outreach events called Sidewalk Projects, where we knew we wanted to connect with artists, unhoused artists, and getting people creating again. Because like what I said earlier is, when a musician doesn't create, it makes a very sick spirit, when you're not doing what you're supposed to do by your own spirit, you're not going to be living a well life. So, so we started trying to connect with other artists, and we go down and have these big parties on the street where we'd have art. We'd do a big mural together with people from the community and local artists. And then a bunch of punk rockers would come down, and we'd sing songs like, Stand By Me, and, all of this stuff together. And other street artists, and singers would come and sing with us. And it was just so joyful. We'd give out, then you give out the needs, the hygiene kits, and the fem care kits, and the safe use kits, and all of the things to keep people safe, clothing and food. And we would do mutual aid organizations, and kind of all come together to have this big day. And, people would come down and get their needs met, and it was a big fun day. And then in 2020, the COVID struck, but at the same time, we got our first grant. And that was, but see, we had been going still to like punk festivals and tabling and being present and, getting donations and just really coming up from the punk community, because that's who we are. And so, yeah. And then we got our first grant, but then, COVID happened, and we noticed that nobody was out servicing folks because they were afraid that they were going to get sick. And so on our dime, we were the ones to like bring in the first 500 masks from China to give to like Department of Health, and because they didn't have any. And then Soma, my partner, is just, she is fearless, and she really has a calling. She's compelled to do this work. And she is just such a badass. She does wound care on people. She stays with people. She really advocates for people. She advocates for the community. She advocates for drug users. She advocates for sex workers. She advocates for people living in poverty. And she's just so completely badass. So she was out there doing outreach by herself, really connecting with the community. And we got our first grant, and it was so funny. Like, I swear to God, oh my God. I was one night, I said, dear universe, I really need to work. I can't go out and play with my band. I'm not bringing any money in. I said, dear universe, whatever you want me to do, please put it in my path, whatever it is, even if it's McDonald's, I don't give a fuck. I'll do it. Just put it in my path and I'll do it. I woke up the next morning to an email from Soma saying, Stacey, will you do this job? It's just like, and it started as like the financial controller for the Sidewalk Project, and then we found that the more I do more than that, so it was kind of chief operating officer. So I'm the COO, and we have been now it's 2026. We've been doing this since 2017, and we're almost moving into our 10th year, and now we've got a drop-in center for women in Skid Row, the first of its kind, that offers women a safe haven. It offers women case managers with advocacy and wraparound services. People can come in, again, get food and clothing and art and do art. And they can, a lot of women come in from being abused and hurt out on the street. And so we offer, safe space and, just about anything that you can imagine, comes through our doors, which is a really tough sometimes. The work is really, really super, super tough. But it is also such a blessing to be able to, one, help other people, and two, we're all lived experience folks. I come from poverty and drug use, and, Soma comes from drug use and sex work and poverty and homelessness. And we all come from the population that we serve. And so it's pretty cool that we're not, that we get to make a living as well, because otherwise we wouldn't have the opportunity to survive the way that we're starting to survive, which is pretty great.
Yeah, I love this. You're actually, I'm besides the goosebumps on the back of my neck, I'm going to start tearing up here pretty soon. I think it's wonderful what you're doing, and we've always, been big advocates. I started out with the Love Hope Strength Foundation years ago.
Oh, no way.
Met Rob Ruckus, Rob Rushing. And now he has Punk Rock Saves Lives with his wife, Tina. And we helped support them at Punk Rock Bowling last year. And what Susan is doing with Punk Rock is Back. I mean, it's, even what the Dear Jack Foundation does for, people with cancer and making their dreams come true. I think it's one of the greatest things you can do in life is to realize that we need to help one another. We're not here alone. And sometimes people need us because they've got no one else. So I love the fact that you're doing that. And I wish you all the greatest success.
Thank you.
Getting a little worked up here.
Susan, Susan's my mentor. Susan was the one that said, Stacey, you could do this job. She took me to her house, taught me how to do all of the accounting. And then everything Soma and I have learned we've learned by having to figure it out, It's just been, but now, we just got an award from the county for being very loud vocal advocates and some of the loudest people fighting for folks.
You a loud vocal advocate? There's no way. No way. I'm shocked.
And a report just came out that showed that overdose is down 50% in Skid Row, and 13% of that was attributed to the Sidewalk Project because of our efforts in overdose response. And what else? We housed, in last year, we housed 170 people. We walked them through getting them into housing. So some of the most vulnerable folks aren't living in tents anymore that come through us. We work really, really hard. We get people emergency hotel rooms. We do a lot. We do a lot.
I think that's fabulous. Well, we're going to make sure there are links below so people can support you as well.
Thank you. Thank you.
In the description below. I'm glad. I'm so stoked for Dollfest because unfortunately we don't have Punk Rock Bowling this year. I had no idea who y'all were, and then I saw the most incredible performance. I mean, I was blown away by you all. What was that experience at Punk Rock Bowling like a couple of years ago? Because you really lit up the audience. You all stand up on stage, and you could palpably feel the energy level go from like a 4 to an 11 for everyone there.
That's just us, man. You know what I mean? We are positive, happy people that feel like we've got a mission. We believe in our songs. We believe in our performing. We just love to do it. And then when you see a big crowd like that, that just amps you up even more. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, all of it, just freaking all of it.
Do you have, I mean, without punk rock bowling this year, do you have any one memory of something that happened at a punk rock bowling that really was kind of made it for you?
Oh my gosh, you have no idea. I've been attending punk rock bowlings since it was just, one show a night, and it was at an off, when it was at Sam's Town, and everybody bowled and everybody sat in the bar with the animatronic animals, and drank beer, buckets of beers, and did loads of cocaine.
Stunned. I'm
So
shocked that ever happened.
yeah, shocked. So I don't know. I've been attending punk rock bowlings forever and ever and ever and ever. I guess maybe the first time we got to play, it was 120 degrees outside. We were the first band. We decided we should get water balloons so we could throw them to the crowd, but we couldn't find any. So what we did was got a bucket of water and a shit ton of condoms. And so we filled the condoms and throwing them out to the crowd. But they were all like super slippery and shit. It was crazy. And we were so nervous. You know what I mean? We were just so excited to finally be part of the thing on the main stage that we had been attending and going to for so many years. So I think that was probably the most, I don't know, important
I'm gonna have
one.
I'm gonna have to see if there's any video of that on YouTube somewhere. I want to see the flying condoms.
I think there is. I'm pretty sure there is.
All right. Well, I'll put that below. If I can find it, I'll put it below too. As we kind of come full circle, some people, I can't see the back of your room. You may have a vision board up there, or you write down goals at the beginning of the year, or you have a dream. What?
I used to have a vision board. Yeah, I had a huge freaking board that was as big as that poster in the back, or bigger. Actually, probably went to the wall. And boy, would I write things on it like, you're this, you're that, you're going to do this, you're going to do this by then, you're going to do this by then, you're going to do this by then. And you know what? Life totally worked out, man. In 2020, I had nothing. I was a friend of mine. I just beat cancer. I had just, but I had nothing. And I had a friend that took me in and kept telling me, don't worry about it. You're just wait. And everything worked out,
As a fellow survivor, I would say that,
Are you?
if you can beat that, everything else is easy. It's downhill from there. You make it through. It sucks, whatever you get, and however you have to get rid of it, and do what you do. But it changes your perspective for sure.
Changes your life forever.
I think it frees you to make better decisions about what's valuable in your life.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. Knowing your own worth, giving yourself the things you deserve. Gosh, when I found out, I obviously quit smoking. I barely ate any sugar. I did yoga every day. I meditated every day. I just really got in contact with the universe and my spirit life. And that is so important to me today still, and I really do believe that that's why I'm thriving in life, is because I am able to have those perspectives now from some of the hardest things that I went through.
Absolutely. And you know what, you understand that life is a ticking clock and every minute matters. And
oh my gosh,
you're only going to get one chance to do it. So go out and do every goddamn thing you want to do.
Oh my gosh, guys, go out there and do it all. Yeah. Never hold yourselves back. Don't waste it. Life is like, here's the thing, what I've found is the universe tests us with all of this stuff around us that's terrible, and it is. And we should stand up and fight for things and try our best to make the world a better place. But it all starts here. And if we're not okay here, we're going to keep going out into the world, spreading that stuff that is keeping people unwell in the world. So, I wholeheartedly believe in trying everything you can do to live your dreams, because that's the first thing you could give to yourself, in terms of living a great life, you know?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Well, I'm curious, when you had your vision board, or you make some goals, have you ever had like a dream collaboration? Is there someone that you've always wanted to work with that you've never had a chance to collaborate with? Just get in the studio for a day to see what could happen. Is there someone that if you could pluck them out right now and get them in the studio, who would it be, and why them?
Oh, Scott, I just love that question because, like, put the first thing in getting what you dream of is being brave enough to say it out loud. The first, you just have to be able to say it out loud. And I work with a lot of different musicians all the time, and I've been blessed to get to do that. But I think that what I'd really love to do is work with. So one of my favorite movies is called Wine Country, and it's with Amy Poehler and Tina Fey and Maya Rudolph and Rachel Dratch. And those women, I feel, are kind of, I think that they would love Bad Cop, and I would love for us to do something one day. I don't know why. It's just like the biggest dream of mine to know those ladies and to have them be proud of who our band is.
I think that's amazing. I mean, because they are all very creative, right? And
Right.
I don't think you have to necessarily even be musically creative to create music, right? Because it's participatory.
Totally. Or whatever kind of art, whether it's an event night or, I don't know. I just, I love all that they do. And I love funny people, and I love funny women, and I love smart, funny boss ass ladies. And so I don't know. That's my pick. That's my dream.
Well, now I have to ask the question, because you definitely have smart, funny women that you work with in your own band. Would they be allowed to come along? Would they be allowed to come along too?
Oh my God, yes. It has to be with them. It couldn't just be me. I think it has to be with my band and those ladies. You know what I mean?
Well, you know what? Now that it's out there in the open, everyone watching, we got to make it happen.
We got to make it happen.
Gotta make it happen. You know what? I think there might be some good odds in your favor. I think there might be, because you got 4 individuals. Only one has to find out about it to tell the other 3, because they're all besties anyway. So we will make that happen for sure. We are big believers that you got to support your artists now more than ever, because making money in this business it's not
so tough, guys.
It's so hard. And you ladies spent half the year last year just running around the world trying to get in front of audiences, and there are people who struggle to get into one gig in a bar. And when you see a musician, when you see an artist, give them your time, give them your money. Make buy something. I don't care if it's a keychain, if it's an album, get a ticket, support Dollfest, go out there. If you have no plans in March, buy a ticket, get on a plane, a train. I'm not going to say hitch a ride. That could be a little dangerous, but get yourself out there and support all these great artists. All the links for Bad Cop are going to be below. They got great shit. Go buy it. If we're just sitting here and you're having a glass of wine, I'm having a beer, whatever, and you're like, when you're not making your own music, you're listening to something. Who are a couple of artists that you may be listening to these days that you're like, Scott, I'm so digging this shit, you got to hear it? Like, who would you recommend I go out and get?
So I drive people crazy, but on the last tour, when we were in the UK, I love the Bangles, right? So I started listening to the Bangles' first shit. And there's a song on it called Going Down to Liverpool. And it goes, where you going without UB40 in your hand? And I love UB40, right? And not just their covers shit. They're all their original stuff and their dubbed out fucking shit. UB40 is like one of my favorite bands. But hearing the Bangles sing that and knowing that the Bangles were an American band, I'm going down to Liverpool to do nothing. And I go, Liverpool? I go, who wrote this song? So I dive in and I find out it's Katrina from Katrina and the Waves. I don't know her real name, but Katrina and the Waves wrote that song. And it came out a year after the Bengals record came out. So I started deep diving more, and I was like, how the fuck did they hear that song? And how did the Bengals put it out before Katrina and the Waves put it out? And turns out they heard it from a demo somewhere and got to buy it and put it on their record, right? And so then I went back and I started listening to Katrina and the Waves first shit. And it's so good. So going back and listening to some of that old stuff, there's really good songs on that record, dude.
So I don't think if you can see that green skate deck over there, but her autograph is on it.
Shut up.
She was on tour with, I think it was Paul Young, her, Men Without Hats, I think. What's his name?
Oh, no way.
She was there, and I was doing a Love, Hope, Strength fundraiser, and I had a skate deck, and she signed it. So yeah, no, she's great. I had to research her because when I went in college, I was a film major, and I did my summer internship at MTV and VH1 in New York, and I was doing like the Week in Rock research, and that was when they were like, heading up the charts.
Gosh, so dang good. Now let me look at what I've really been listening to. Okay, hold on, let me look, because I so much goes on in my life that okay, I was listening to jazz. I was listening to Death by Stereo. I was listening to UB40. I was listening to Katrina and the Waves. I love Iron Maiden. Iron Maiden's something I've been listening to a lot. If you don't love Iron Maiden, guys, give it a shot. You think that Iron Maiden is this gnarly metal band, but like their melodies are just fantastic. I mean, I think it's one of the best bands in the world, Iron Maiden, to be honest.
Well, you know what I find fascinating is so many guys I talk to are in metal. When they're not making metal, they're listening to classical music because it's so structured and
so structured that way.
Yeah. So if you get past some of the distortion and some of the percussion, sometimes you get in there and you're like, wait a minute, why do I know this? And you're like, wait, I was a kid learning about this composer, and there's a piece of it in there.
And then so there's a band that's dear friends of ours that I super duper love, and they're called Burnt. They are kind of a mix. They're kind of a mix of reggae, and they've got some hip hop stuff and some punk stuff. But they've got some really great music on their stuff. They've got one song called "My Cup" that I want to do a cover of. So I would say give them a shot. It's a band that people don't listen to, but they should, because they're very, very good. Very good.
I love that we started with You in the Belly and reggae, and we're ending with reggae. We've come full circle.
I love reggae. And UB40, go listen to UB40, goddammit.
Look, Stacey, this has been fantastic, and I hate to let you go. So my offer is that when the next album's coming out, let's get the whole band together and do this, and we'll have a lot of fun.
Would love to. Scott would love to. And I look forward to meeting you at Dollfest.
I'm going to do everything I can to get my butt to Dollfest for sure. Everyone else should as well.
Yes.
Again, all the links are down below. Stacey, I can't thank you enough. This has been great. This has really been something I've been hoping we could do. That photo that I took was it's something that stuck with me. And I love the fact that we were able to use it to help raise some funds. And you guys mean the world to me. You really do. So this was so much fun. Keep making great music. I'll do all my best to get out there. And everybody, look, these are the times we live in. Real important. Number one, love yourself. Show yourself love and grace, and then give that to other people. That's just going to help us get through tomorrow. And that's where we got to
Word up.
Thank you, Stacey. Appreciate it. We'll see you all again soon. Thanks so much. This has been great.
Bye, guys.
Bye for now.